Hi, psych students. I want to go through a few more slides of notes with you so that when we come together or we continue on with our information, especially on reliability and validity, it'll be a lot of fun. I hope you'll have a good time with creating a good operational definition. But before we get to that, I want to finish up on theories of intelligence. If you were with me, some of the classes got through the G factor and some of us didn't. So I'm going to quickly go through the G factor, with the triarchic theory of intelligence. And if you already did it in class, just kind of skip over this part with me. But we probably all went through the G factor together, Charles Spearman. Now remember, a lot of people criticized Spearman because they said, well, no, you can't just say we all have one general intelligence. However, we do kind of do that when you look at standardized tests and things like that. We have this baseline, right? And then people go above it or below it, and that's kind of what this idea is. So there's a triarchic theory of intelligence, and we understand the analytic, the creative, and the practical side. Now, the word tri means theory. Three, right? So we're looking at three different types of intelligence. So different than what Sternberg said, different than what, now I can't think of his name, Sternberg, different what Spearman said. Sternberg says, no, there's actually three different types. There's not one general intelligence, there's three different types: the creative, the practical, and the analytical. And if you think about the analytical, those are the traditional type ways. Like if I would ask you what you consider to be intelligence, you might kind of give me some answer along the ideas of analytic intelligence. You know, the book smarts that we like to think about, the ability to compare, contrast, explain, analyze. We do that a lot in school, you know, where we ask you trace the causes and events of the Civil War, whatever it happens to be. Compare and contrast how this author is using the imagery compared to this author, whatever it happens to be. Creative intelligence is the ability to use knowledge and experience in new and innovative ways. This is really a good example of what we use in school when we're trying to do more and more with technology, and we take that new innovation and we try to like make something or get you to do something with that creative experience or through a creative experience. And then practical intelligence is the ability to apply what we already know in real world situations. Sometimes we refer to practical experience as street smarts. And we actually even really do this in school as well. We want you to take what you learn here and continue to do it later. And so actually, you know, what you're doing right now in the next couple of days that you have to turn in for service hours, we really hope that that spirit of volunteerism continues on into your adult life. And so it's not only, you know, the street smarts, like you know, can you get by on your own, but it's how to be the best version of yourself, a good citizen, a good person, a good Christian, for instance. Magic circles. I like to talk about magic circles because if we were in class together, I would ask you to probably get in like a little group or something and do this as a small group session. We see that magic circles, and usually the magic number is about 2 to 3 people. I would ask you to get into a group of about 2 or 3 people, and I want you to capture the picture, caption, like give me a caption, what's going on, you know, some quick little remark or some funny little thing. We see that in magic circles, that all that intelligence, according at least to Sternberg, comes out the best when you're in small groups. When you're in bigger groups, we tend to have one leader or 1 or 2 people kind of shine above others. And sometimes when we're just all alone individually, we can't like feed off of others' ideas. And so we see the best intelligence kind of formation and fostering coming out in small group sessions. And finally, Howard Gardner. Now, Howard Gardner gets a lot of he gets a lot of flack in teacher education because psychologists understand Gardner for his 8 intelligence. However, sometimes those transfer over in the education world to how to teach, and that's not necessarily what Gardner was talking about. So Gardner says very different, than Sterman. We have 8 different types of intelligences, and we have a very wide variety. In fact, Gardner says that not only do we have all 8 of these, some are a little bit more pronounced than others, but we actually have all 8 of these. Whereas Gardner said, Spearman said we have like 1 general intelligence. Gardner says, no, we have like 8 of them actually. And so if you look at, and I kind of put a little visual there, I think that'll give you a good idea of what each of these means. Linguistic. Linguistic intelligence is the ability to not only speak, but get your ideas and your words across well. Managers need good linguistic understanding. So speaking skills. Logical mathematics skills, I think you know what that means. I mean, literally people who are logically smart, they understand like just how to get numbers and it just makes sense to them in a order or a pattern. They have a logical mathematical intelligence. Spatial intelligence is like engineers and designers, people who can look at an object or look at an area or a space and kind of understand. They can like visualize it in their head. That's what we mean by spatial intelligence. Sometimes I think I have really great spatial intelligence when it comes to geography because I think in maps, but then sometimes I look at when you did those that IQ test, and did they give you any shapes like, if you rotate this one, which one would it be? That is hard for me. And so in some cases, I think I have good spatial intelligence, and in other cases, I think I don't have very good spatial intelligence. Musical intelligence, I think you know just exactly what that means. You have a strong musical ability. Bodily kinesthetic, we've talked about the kinesthetic sense, right? Kinesthesia, it's how we move, how our body orients itself to our space. And so if you're like have a really strong bodily kinesthetic sense, intelligence, you're probably like maybe an athlete, maybe you're a dancer, maybe you're like a craftsman or an artist or somebody who uses their body for their like whatever it has to be accomplished because they're able to move easily and freely and they understand that body connection. Intrapersonal. I would say that intrapersonal and interpersonal are kind of one of these two that are maybe the most important, but they could probably be filled in along with the other ones. Everybody has intrapersonal and interpersonal intelligence, but maybe it depends on how much you have. Intrapersonal intelligence is like knowing yourself. In fact, you see where it says self-smart right there. It's not only knowing yourself and understanding why you feel that way, what motivates you, how you get things done, but it's then taking that information of knowing like who you are, like you're not going to get mad about critical feedback or you're not easily upset. So you take who you are and what you know, and then you apply it to be the best version of yourself, to communicate effectively, to work well with other environments. So interpersonal skills are quite important. However, interpersonal skills are very important as well. Some people have really good interpersonal skills and maybe some people don't. Interpersonal skills are like, all teachers I think have to have interpersonal skills. We have to be able to work with people. But car salesmen, yeah, you have to know how to read people, how to engage with people, how to, not only like linguistically how to talk with people, but just really kind of understand people. And sometimes we refer to interpersonal intelligence as people smart. And then there's naturalist intelligence. And a naturalist is not so much understanding yourself or the people around you, but understanding your environment around you. So, like, people who are naturalists, they very much get like geology and biology because they understand the bigger picture of what's around them, not just themselves and the people in life. So Howard Gardner is, like very different than Sternberg, very different than Spearman, and he has his own idea that it's 8. Now, in the education world, sometimes they say, well, you need to teach like to reach all 8 of these, you have to like come up with these amazing like activities and exercises for students, because maybe some students are more musical and maybe some students are more bodily kinesthetic, and so you shouldn't like tailor it to meet all of these, but you should probably tailor it more than to like linguistic and probably like logical mathematical, which is typically what a traditional school setting would do. All right, so that's it. This slide is what I want to go over with you as we get into the next days of knowing how to assess intelligence. So, all right, until we meet again, goodbye. I think goodbye.